If this is your first time here, thank you for coming. We hope you will stay after the service for coffee and conversation, and perhaps to listen to what Spoon has to share with us. And members, look for the visitor tags and give our visitors a hearty welcome. If you would like to know more about us and learn about upcoming events, please fill out the visitors cards that are located in the seat back pockets in front of you and sign up to get our newsletter. Please know that whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We greet the day in song. Our opening hymn is Wo Ya Ya. It is number 1020 in the teal hymnal, but we will also have the lyrics projected on the wall behind me. Bill Hornbuckle will sing through part of it to get us started, and he will indicate when to join in, and we will start then again at the beginning. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able.
Good morning. It's so wonderful to be with you all again. As we light our chalice, we create sacred space together. I call you into a time of connection within, among, and beyond with the words of San Trumbor. O light of life, be kindled again in our hearts as we meet together this morning to celebrate the joy of human community, seeking a wholeness that extends beyond ourselves.
Our affirmation is an expression of our covenant with one another. Please read and respond after me. The words are projected behind me. The doctrine of this church is love. The quest of truth is its sacrament. Service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace. To seek knowledge in freedom. To serve humanity in fellowship. To the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. It's Wonderbox time. Karina, please come share the Wonderbox with us.
Do we have any folks who want to come forward and come a little closer so we can take a good look at what might be in the Wonderbox today? I'm going to shake it. We use love to help each other learn and grow. It's making a little bit of noise. With our guesses, if you shout them out, then we can learn from each other what we think might be in here. Does anybody want to make a guess? Girl Scout cookies. That time of year. Any pecans. That's a nice guess. Anything else? Flashcards? All right, are we ready to open it up? Is there someone who wants to help me open it? I'll bring it down here. It's a dog collar. What does that make you think of? Your Arnie? Somebody has a doggy named Arnie? Or Barney? Family? Part of your family? Any other thoughts about a dog collar? Unconditional love. How sweet. All right. Let's see what our Wonderbox story is going to tell us about dog collars.
Strictly No Elephants. Written by Lisa Manchev and illustrated by Taeun Yu. Published by Simon & Schuster. The trouble with having a tiny elephant for a pet is that you never quite fit in. No one else has an elephant. Every day I take my elephant for a walk. His is a very thoughtful sort of walk. He doesn't like the cracks in the sidewalk much. I always go back and help him over. That's what friends do, lift each other over the cracks. Today I'm walking my tiny elephant to number 17. It's Pet Club Day and everyone will be there. Come along, there's a good boy. I coax him the last few feet. It'll be fine. When I look up, there's a sign on the door. Strictly No Elephants. My tiny elephant leads me back to the sidewalk, never minding the cracks. That's what friends do. Brave the scary things for you. Oh, here's somebody else. Did you try to go to the pet club meeting too? The girl asks. Yes, I say, but they don't allow elephants. The sign didn't mention skunks, the girl says, but they don't want us to play with them either. They don't know any better, I tell her. He doesn't stink, the girl adds. No, he doesn't, I agree. What if we start our own club? Come along, I say, making certain that my tiny elephant follows me, because that's what friends do. Never leave anyone behind. Look at all these animals. We can play here, one of our new friends says. All of us. So we paint our own sign. All are welcome. My tiny elephant will give you directions if you need them. Because that's what friends do. The end.
So everybody had a different kind of pet, didn't they? And what I love about that story is how it's so much like what we're trying to do here at San Gabriel, building a place where all are welcome. It begins with imagining and dreaming, and I think that's what Carrie is going to preach to us today, the power of utopian thinking. And there's something I wanted to point out. On the last page of the book, someone shows up and pokes her head around the corner, and it is the girl from the pet club who said, strictly no, she's there with her dog. So we're going to talk a little more about the story today as we exit and go out to our little house. And we'll talk about that. Are we ready to go? All right, let's go.
Good morning again. So nice to be back with y'all. So we are officially into 2024. I know this because of two things. The first is that I have successfully written 2024 at least 5 times. And the second is that I am out of my denial that 2024 is a presidential election year. I didn't really want to get to this place, quite honestly. I'm pretty tired. I mean, the last special session just ended 2 months ago. And before that was a session with more special sessions. And before that was an insurgency. I don't know if you remember that one. And then before that, well, that was 2020. And that was the beginning of a global pandemic and yet another presidential election year. And then before 2020, well, y'all remember what was before 2020. So I'm tired. I'm really tired. And yet, because I believe, as our theologian James Luther Adams says, that we deny the immaculate conception of virtue and affirm the necessity of social incarnation, meaning that we have responsibility to make the world the one that we are trying to make it. That our actions, our thoughts, all of those things are what pushes us towards a more beautiful world. So I want to have the energy to do all the things I need to do this year. I want to you the vote so hard. I want to send out postcards and make phone calls and send out those texts and all of those things that we do because we believe in democracy and we believe in voting. But I'm tired, and I'm sure many of you are as well. So I went to my faith, to this beautiful religion. What does it have for me? Because honestly, if it doesn't have anything to give me rest and renewal right now, then why the heck am I waking up and not going to brunch with my heathen friends, right? And what I found is that utopian thinking is central to our faith. It is this belief that what is now is not how it has to be. This isn't just the natural order of things. Things can and will and do change. I mean, just think about it. Unitarians said, in a sea of people who believed in the Trinity, I don't think we find that in the same text we're using. And Universalists said, you know what? This hell thing, why would a loving God ever do that? And of course, there's abolition, there's voting, there's all of these things that we believe in, which if you think about them, are utopian ideals. I mean, we don't even have universal suffrage when it comes to voting, and yet we believe in the power of voting. We believe in the power of democracy, even though so many people are withheld from actually having a voice in our democracy, and yet we believe in it, and we continue to believe in it, and we continue to fight for it. Ours is not a religion of despair. Ours is a religion of hope. And it's because of that foundation of utopian thinking. And that's where I'm pulling my strength from. That's where I'm pulling my resilience from. And I want to do that today with y'all. Rutger Bregman, who is a Dutch historian, says, I've always believed in the power of utopian thinking. Every milestone of civilization, the end of slavery, democracy, equal rights, these were all utopian fantasies once, until they happened. That's why I think that history is actually the most subversive discipline of all the social sciences, because history shows us that things can be different. They don't have to be this way. We can change them. We have to believe in the power of hope. If you believe in hope, if you actually are hopeful for the future, then you have to do something. I mean, doesn't that sound like us? We are a people who don't see hell as some supernatural thing that happens if you don't do whatever somebody says to do, but rather conditions that we create on this earth, and that we also have an obligation and responsibility to remove hells on this earth. That is because we are a hopeful people, because we can imagine a world that is different than the one we have. It's so exciting to me. I mean, just think about the concept of the beloved community. The King Cinder writes about the beloved community as this place where there's no racism or ageism or sexism or any of the isms. There's no war, but global cooperation. Nobody's going hungry, no one's going unhoused, because we would not allow it. That is a beautiful place. And let's face it, one that none of us are going to see. We are planting seeds for a forest that we will never see. But what really excites me about that is even though I won't see it, and I hope my children benefit from some of it, but what happens is that when we act out of this utopian thinking that things can be different, we do actually affect things in the here and the now. I saw this in this last session when there were so many violent bills. I mean, just so many violent bills, so much violence actually happening at the Capitol. But when people showed up who had no stakes in the game, so many of them with Side with Love shirts, so many yellow shirts were in that Capitol. Do you know how much hope that brings to the lives of people who are being targeted for marginalization? Because the narrative that is trying to be forced on them is that you do not matter, that you should feel alone because you are alone. And when we show up for people in all the ways that we can show up, we are rejecting that narrative. We are saying, you do matter, and we are witnessing what is happening to you. It is wrong, and it does not have to be this way, and we don't want it to be this way, so we're going to fight, and we're going to continue to fight. And in that, we bring down some of this beauty and power of utopian thinking into the hearts of people now, in the here and the now. And that is amazing to me. And I think that's what our religion gives us. It gives us hope. We are not a religion of despair, but of hope. But I'm also pragmatic. And I want to know, okay, well, how does that actually work? Because it's very nice words, and everything I said I think is very lovely, right? But how do we actually do it? Because we all have jobs. We all have a lot of other things that probably take our attention and time. Well, meditating on this, I've come up with 3 things. And I think that there are probably more, and I would love to see what y'all come up with too. But the first is that we do this work in community. I mean, that makes sense, right? We're a congregationalist religion. We don't do anything if it's not in community. But I mean, we need to get in community, and we need to envision what we want to see. I think we need to breathe new life into these words that we use. When we say we're going to dismantle systems of oppression in ourselves and in our institution, what does that look like? What is the transformation that we're expecting in ourselves and in our community? When we say that we believe in the beloved community, what does that actually mean? A colleague of mine cynically said that she thought some people thought it meant just a social club where everyone is nice to each other. Well, I want to live in a world where no one's suffering, so I don't think I need a social club. So I think we have to get together in community and envision what it is that we mean. And the beautiful thing about being in community is that it expands our worldview. It changes the lens in which we're looking through the world, so that vision can be so much more rich and so much more thoughtful and so much more beautiful than it would be if we were just doing it on our own. And secondly, we have to feed our vision. The narrative right now is pretty depressing. My husband and I were talking about this, and he said, in the 90s, there was a show called Beyond 2000. And it talked about the ways that technology was going to help us and how much better our world was going to be. And he said, we don't talk like that anymore. If you talk about the future at all, it's like, this was the hottest summer on record, but get ready, it's going to be so much worse. Or AI is definitely going to destroy us. Our talk of the future is bleak. And I'm not saying to not be a realist, but I'm just saying it doesn't have to be this way. History has shown again and again that it does not have to be this way. So we can't just buy into this narrative. We have to feed ourselves differently. Rutger Bergen says, there's nothing inherent about our current political, economic, or social realities. People made these systems and can make them anew. To envision something novel, read more history and less news. There's nothing as anti-utopian as the product that we call news. Now, before y'all go telling on me and I don't get to get fellowshipped, I am not saying don't listen to NPR. I think NPR is okay, all right? So just want to make that clear. But what he does say is that sensationalist daily news cycles can constrict our ability to see the world as anything but dangerous, violent, and mean. So what we put into ourselves is just as vital as the vision that we have for the future. What are we reading? Are we reading philosophy? Are we reading and writing poetry? What music are we encountering? What art are we making? What art are we enjoying? We have to feed ourselves something different because we believe in something different. And finally, y'all, we have to let utopian thinking, hope, feed us. I am the most guilty of learning something new and putting it on my good person to-do list. Anybody have one of those? Just add another thing, it's fine, it's fine. Eventually I'll be a good enough person to, I don't know, maybe there's a Starbucks gift card at the end, I have no idea. But the point is that is not sustainable way to be. It's gonna lead to burnout and apathy. We have to nourish ourselves with this idea of utopian thinking. And for me, that looks like two things. One, it keeps me from thinking of things as the most important thing in front of me. That this bill is the apocalypse. That this election is the apocalypse. Now, don't get me wrong, those things are important, and I will show up, and I think we should all show up and continue to show up. But the thing is that I do believe that the arc is long and that it does bend toward justice. And that means that the way that we move through the world has to be a broader view than this bill, this election, or whatever is right in front of us. We have to think more expansively. And that keeps me from burning out. And secondly, because I'm kind of an impatient person, I have to really think about the ways that by acting in this way, it does affect people in the here and now. That it does bring more justice and more beauty and more compassion into the lives of people in the here and the now. These things fill me. These things give me energy so I don't have to be so tired. Because ultimately, I believe that our religion is a religion of hope and not despair. May it always be so. Sorry, I'm new here. All right, so we're going to do joys and sorrows now. So let's pause here and take a moment for reflecting on what I just said. Deep breaths. Let us settle into our seat and let us give each other the gift of our attention as we share joys and gratitudes, concerns and sorrows. Now is the time for sharing how you are feeling, what's on your heart, what joy or gratitude you want to lift up, what pain or concern you want to ease through sharing. Let's create a circle of caring together.
I spent a lot of time as United Methodist, and the definition of hell, if you are a United Methodist, is cold coffee. So the honorary barista award today goes to Walt Holt, who's hiding back there because he stepped up and offered to make coffee. So if you like the coffee, Walt Holt made it. If you do not like it, I don't know who made it.
Thank you all. I'm Keith Hutchinson. Michelle Augustine and I participated in the point in time count this past Thursday night, counting those who are unsheltered in our community. And so I want to share that concern for the 90-some individuals in Williamson County, actually many more than 90 because we know it was a huge undercount, who are living under bridges, who are living in cars and parking lots, who are living in picnic shelters and parks all the time. And so Michelle and I were part of a large team that went out to try and get a count of how many are living unsheltered. And so just want to raise up that concern. But I also want to share some hopefulness, which is that thanks to Michelle and some folks from Helping Hands, and you probably heard about it last week, the first overnight cold weather shelter was stood up a week ago and was open during the coldest nights. We now have a model that we think might be able to be sustainable in Georgetown for the first time, to be able to offer some place for those who are unsheltered to go when it's very cold. So I want to put out a call as well that when we do get our next cold weather nights, and we imagine that is most likely to happen in February, we'll be looking for folks to help staff that shelter. Michelle and I both did it, and we encourage you to think on that. Is that something you would be willing to do? Because we will need your help. So it is both a concern and a sign of hopefulness that for the first time Williamson County might be starting to address this, at least in some small way, providing some shelter for those who are unsheltered.
My name's Clara Dugan. I definitely want to second the warming shelter that Michelle spearheaded. It's a long time in the coming, and a lot of pieces came together, but Michelle made the critical help in finding a place, and that's really, really wonderful. I also want to say, if you haven't heard yet, David Abbey from our church has had a stroke. And I know a lot of you know that already, and he's at St. Gabriel Rehabilitation and Care Center, and he could not only use visitors. Mary doesn't even know what she's up against yet. So any actual help that you could give her with David would be very helpful. He could use some help with physical therapy, with occupational therapy. Those aren't things that the average Joe can't help him with. So reach out to Mary for any help that she could use at this point. David will be coming home soon, sooner than he probably should be coming home. So she could use all the help she could get.
I wanted to share a joy related to today's sermon. A group of activists down on the coast in the Rio Grande Valley were protesting and began protesting over the building of a proposed LNG, liquid natural gas terminal, which would be a source of shipping natural gas as a major industry throughout the world. Climate activists all over the country responded to this local communities initiative, and the momentum grew to a planned national demonstration, which was scheduled for next week. Fortunately, the Biden administration found a stroke of wisdom in response and pulled the permits which are necessary from the federal government for the advancement of these natural gas terminals, which are not only scheduled for Texas, but also Mississippi on the Gulf Coast as well. So this is a reversible decision that another president might change, but we get so few victories that it's important to share them and recognize the initiative of that local community who said, not here, not with us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chuck Collins, and although it's a shock to the 20-year-old that lives inside of me, we're expecting a new grandchild to come in August. We don't know if it's boy or girl yet; it doesn't matter, but we're looking forward to that.
This is a joy very close to home. If you all have been coming here for a long time, you may remember that the air conditioner comes on and there's a rumble and you can't hear anything, especially if you're in the back. So this is a joy because the facilities team made it happen. And now you noticed it's really quiet in here all the service. So thank you to the facilities team. We also have a new HVAC system back there. So I won't embarrass them by telling them, maybe I should. Walt Holt, who also makes coffee, is head of facilities. And I don't know for sure who else helped him, but I know there were several other men who helped him. So thank you, Walt.
On a very light note, I watched a movie that is a great watch for Black History Month, and it's called Gifted Hands. It's a 2009 movie about the story of Dr. Ben Carson. A wonderful, and it's on Netflix right now. Gifted Hands, and I've got it back here too. Great movie.
Some of you may have noticed the last time I was here I was very pregnant. I'm not anymore because we had our baby girl, Elizabeth Juniper. She came early last month, but she is healthy in 7 weeks. So that is one of my big joys. The other one is that I really wanted to do something with my older daughter, Lucy, who's 5, and she comes with me a lot. So I became her Girl Scout troop leader this year, and she is an adorable little daisy. We had our end of the year holiday party here. It was very fun. And as part of that, y'all might know, it is Girl Scout cookie season. So I have cookies with me. If y'all want some, there's no pressure, but if it would add to your joy, I have them, so.
Did you have one? No, I was just asking for Girl Scouts. Oh, okay, yeah.
Are we still? I can speak loud. This is Pat. I just wanted to lift up and ask for your concern for Rob's sister. She had a fall last week and was in the hospital for a few days because there was a hematoma. And they decided it's her heart problems have reared back up. So if you could hold her in your thoughts, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you for your sharing. Let's take a deep and cleansing breath. And exhale. For the joys shared, we join together in celebration for babies and Girl Scout cookies and HVACs and all the good things. And for sorrow and concern, we feel empathy and compassion. For all that remains unspoken, may the caring of this community offer a space of deep kindness and care. As a meditation on the joys and sorrows we just heard, let us sing Be Thou My Vision. It's number 20 in the gray hymnal. Once again, please rise in body or spirit as you are able.
We take an offering each week to sustain this space that we call home and to support the work of our fellowship. If this is your first time here, please feel free to let the basket pass you by. Your presence this morning is a wonderful gift to us, and we thank you for coming. And if you filled out one of the visitor information cards, feel free to put it in the basket. That way we'll have it. Our offertory music this morning is Arioso by Johann Sebastian Bach. Thank you, Joe. The offering will now be gratefully received.
Now, as we leave this building and go about into our lives this week, may you feel held. May you feel loved. May you know that love sees you in all your successes and failures, and it doesn't flinch. May you be uplifted by hope and by this community and by this beautiful faith. Go in peace.
Well, Michelle has an announcement. Let's start with Michelle.
Good morning, everybody. The button that I'm wearing on my jacket today says, "Where are you sleeping tonight?" Where are you sleeping tonight? And so with that, as Keith and I and others have discovered, it would be most helpful for our unhoused neighbors to have some place to sleep tonight. Hence, that's why you see the tent set up in the back of church. We encourage you, if you would like to do something about that situation, consider a donation of a tent or a sleeping bag or other items. So thank you for your generous support that you've given us through our social justice team. We are becoming a well-recognized institution within our community as San Gabriel takes on many justice issues.
Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Carrie, for being with us today. And many thanks to all who make the service happen every Sunday. I'm not going to name names because that way I'll forget somebody. But thanks to the visible folks who greet you at the door, work on the soundboard or the cameras, play the music, make the coffee, and bring snacks to feed us. And then there are the folks who work behind the scenes, scheduling speakers, musicians, lay leaders, and greeters, changing the marquee, arriving early every week to turn on the heat or the AC, printing announcements, and so much more. It takes all of us to make this Sunday service happen, so thank you. Speaking of the announcements, if you didn't get one, pick one up on the way out. And again, I call your attention to Spoon's presentation after you have some coffee and snacks and conversation. Yes. and to the Holocaust Remembrance event in down the street at the United Methodist Church this afternoon at 4 p.m. And I wanted to bring your attention to the play that's going to be playing at the Georgetown Playhouse. That's the little theater. There's maybe, I don't know, 30 seats or so in there. We've got tickets. We're going on the 17th. I know there's still a few seats left that day, but there's not very much space in that theater. So if you're interested in seeing it, I suggest you get your tickets soon. And with that, I invite everyone to stay, greet each other during the coffee hour, and conversation time.